What you are witnessing here is a level 59 undead rogue, 3
Ugh.
experience points away from level 60, about to enter Ironforge for the first time. Once I cross this border, my leveling journey comes to an end. One last time will I bathe in the golden dust, the culmination of 332 hours of gameplay. When I cross this border, surely I will reach peak fulfillment and transcend to a new plane of existence. When I cross this border,
Oh shit.
I will become level 60. And who better to share this moment with than a random level 6 night elf who is also entering Ironforge for the first time, and I killed him and ate his corpse.
What?
But that's a story for another time. Welcome to the roleplay PvP server, Grobulus. Who's Grobulus, you ask? He's this guy from Hearthstone. And what better namesake for our community than a hulking fat degenerate with monster energy pumping through his veins? When you play on a role...
Is that me? Is that literally me? Monster energy pumping through his veins? Now you guys know what I look like. What the fuck?
Roleplay server, you have absolutely no idea what's going to happen next. One minute, you're taking part in a capoeira lesson and having a troll berate you for not doing it right, and the next minute, a gay, naked Tauran orgy has formed in the place you just happened to AFK in. What? Get me out of here. Now, whilst accidentally stealthing my way into furry erotic roleplay wasn't one of the reasons I chose to play Rogue, I guess some would call it a bonus. Not me, though. In fact, picking Rogue as my class was quite a tough choice because I had to battle the temptation to pick Mage. And with free food, free travel, one-button raid rotations, and objectively the best leveling experience due to busted AoE farming, you're probably wondering, why did I pick Rogue? Well, my friends, an epiphany came to me during one of my water and other legal substances benders. I realized, instead of being this guy, I want to be this guy. And that's the story of how I picked Rogue. I don't care about efficient leveling, one-button rotations, or intelligence buffs. I just want to watch the world burn. Witness my no fun allowed combo. Marvel in awe and disgust as I kill this night elf before they can even break out of one of my many stuns. What's that, human warrior? You're doing an escort quest? A quest where you...
Wait, you get to stunlock people as a rogue? What the heck? How come I didn't know about that? Oh, this sucks.
Have to lead a robot chicken across an incredibly large distance as it walks at the slowest possible pace, effectively doubling the time the journey should take? Well, it would be a shame if you were to fail the quest due to a rogue coming up behind you and kill. But I'm not all bad. I promise. Take, for example, this human. Now, I will be honest, I was milliseconds away from killing him when some cosmic force stopped me. I could somehow sense this human was different, special. So I followed him. I don't know how it happened. He was supposed to just be another kill, and I really, truly was planning on killing him, but then we're laying under the night sky, holding hands and watching the stars together, and I tell him my deepest, most personal, intimate secrets, and he responds, "Dang," in the most adorable human accent I've ever heard. And I know that he couldn't understand what I was saying, but this moment cemented our friendship. Our connection had transcended language and faction, and such a bond, no doubt, is worth protecting above all else. I could sense this human had somewhere to go, and so I resolved that my purpose, as dictated to me by the hand of fate, was to get Kuman the Human where he needed to be. And so we traveled through Ashenvale together. I defended him from the aggressive wildlife, and in return, he talked down an angry, racist night elf who attacked me, eventually winning him over to my side. I don't speak human, but I can only presume Kuman told him I was friendly. If only they knew. Now
what the fuck is this conversation?
Joined by a random cat, we made south for Talon Deep Path, a tunnel that leads into Stone Talon Mountains. Now, despite technically being contested territory, Stone Talon Mountains is largely a horde area due to its main border being shared with the Barrens. But Kuman had safely escorted me through the Alliance town of Astronar, so now it was my turn to return the favor. We arrived in the deforested Windshear Crag, and unless you enjoy goblins constantly biting at your ankles, I wouldn't recommend you visit. The spider-infested Webwinder Path proved no better either, and by the time we trekked to the top of the hill, we were out of breath and in need of a break. It was then that a mage attacked. No! I screamed.
Traitor?
She questioned. I had to think fast. One word in the general chat about Alliance being led through Horde territory and the cavalry would arrive.
These are ally.
They are my pets, I lied, hoping she'd buy into my fabrication.
Interesting. Keep them scarcely fed and controlled.
Perfect. Another debate won. But we weren't out of the woods yet because another mage had arrived on the scene, no doubt hearing the commotion.
What's going on here?
These are my pets, I lied again.
Kinky.
Oh, we have a degenerate on our hands. It was going to take more than a quick lie to proceed past this mage, and unfortunately for me, there was only one solution. I would have to feed into his degeneracy until one of us broke. You like that?
That was pretty hot.
Woman hugs you.
Just need to turn around to finish.
It was time. I was about to make my winning move. I knelt in front of him, ready to receive his undead load. When he broke, I had won this game of gay chicken and we were free to pass. And let me tell you, I always win gay chicken. Don't fucking try me. All things considered, the Horde
What? What the fuck? What was that? Hold up. Huh?
had been pretty friendly so far, and I was feeling good about the journey. Until an orc flew out the trees. Put your green fingers on him again, and I'll cut them off where you stand. And so our duel began. Unfortunately for me, the orc immediately broke my stealth with a demoralizing shout. Not a good look for your boy. Sinister Strike into Rupture secured me a small bleed and some nice damage, and I was also blessed with a nice poison proc. We then traded basic auto attacks whilst I built up combo points, culminating in a 3-point Eviscerate which only hit for a disappointing 88. Dancing back and forth, we traded a few more blows, putting my health at critical condition, but just as I was about to succumb, I won! Of course, I calculated the duel so that I would win with just a sliver of health. It was meant to demoralize the enemy. That's also why I didn't use any cooldowns. I definitely didn't forget that I had them. The rest of the journey was relatively uneventful. We continued north to Stone Talon Peak, and once we arrived, Kuman started motioning towards the Flight Master. I knew what this meant. Our journey had come to an end. It was time to say goodbye.
No! This is so sad. They were besties. What the hell?
I love you, Kuman. You taught me compassion and empathy. No longer will I just mindlessly attack every Alliance player I see. From today, I am a changed undead. Now let me tell you about my gun move. For whatever reason, rogues have a range slot. Now you can equip a bow and it will work just as well. However, it's way funnier to have the gun because the gun is loud. Holy shit, why is it so fucking loud? So here's my meme. I leave an Alliance player low and I create distance. Then I line up my shot. If I misjudged their remaining health, they live to fight another day. But if the stars are aligned... Now in Classic WoW, because there's no cross-server functionality, reputation goes a long way. Being a kind, genuine, helpful person will get you re-invited to groups, whereas ninja looting a chest everyone else is rolling for will bring about bad karma. This mushroom, however, was totally worth it. Delicious. But you need to remember, there are disgusting Alliance players out there, and you're leveling alongside them too.
Introducing Dragon, the human warlock.
Now when I...
No wonder Duelox was like, hey, you should watch this video. Okay, if you didn't know, Duelog's my boss, aka Hiruma Red X, likes to tell me that if I decide to play the Alliance, I'm getting kicked out of the company. I know, power harassment, am I right? But that's why, you know, I play as a fucking orc, guys. It's great. But yeah, he basically tells me all the time, like, oh, if you create a human character, if you're an Alliance member, I'm kicking you out. Like, tell him he's crazy, by the way. Tell that man he's absolutely insane. Thanks.
Arrived in Stranglethorn Vale, I made a promise to myself. A promise that I would try to kill all and any Alliance I saw. Even if it meant I wasn't leveling at a good pace, even if it meant I had to do back-to-back corpse runs. That was a great take. Regardless of class, level, or even how many people I was taking on at a time, I wanted to PvP. And unfortunately, Dragon was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
07
again,
Dragon.
and again, and again.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't that I was targeting dragons specifically. I killed my fair share of people that day, and some of them a lot of times. But something about the name Dragon would forever wedge itself into my brain. And then, 13 levels later in Feralis, as I was finishing up on a quest, I turned north to face the top of a great hill. And who did I see? Dragon. Of course, you already know what the fuck it is. I followed Dragon down the hill and back into the cave I had just come out of. That's when I hit her with my patented no fun allowed combo. She called for a mod, but no mod came. Then I left the cave and perched above the entrance like a bird of prey. If you haven't already guessed by the way I'm maintaining vision of her corpse, yes, this time I was specifically targeting Dragon. Eventually, minutes later, the corpse would become a skeleton. Showtime. I swooped down behind her like fucking Batman and interrupted her summon. No Void Walker for you, bitch. And then she fucking died. How on earth did that happen? A few minutes later, she returned, this time creating enough distance to summon her Void Walker. I will now give you a couple of seconds to think about the difference this made.
Oh no!
None. The answer was none. However, on the next resurrection, Dragon managed to mount up and run, and with that kind of head start, there was no way I was catching up now. The camping dream was dead. It was time to admit defeat. Is what I would say if she didn't dismount 20 seconds later and try and summon her Void Walker again.
Hello, is anyone in there?
As I consumed her delicious feat, I wondered whether I was taking things too far. Nope, I had tasted the forbidden fruit, and I wasn't going to stop anytime soon. As Dragon mounted and ran away for a second time, I'd like to tell you that she had learned her lesson, but she literally did the same thing again. Fool you once, shame on me. Fool you twice, you're an idiot. But as I slaughtered Dragon for the 23rd time since we first met, I had a sudden epiphany. Actually, she wasn't an idiot. She was
23 times is insane. I'm just saying that if anyone killed me 23 times in PvP, on God, I am uninstalling on that day itself. I mean, she's kind of dumb, you know, but I'd uninstall. I would honestly be like tilted out of my fucking skull, dude.
Was a stubborn warrior with an iron resolve. At any point during my incessant camping crusade, she could have just spirit revived, but she didn't. She just kept getting back up. Obviously, Dragon assumed I would soon tire out, and after deciding to revive at her corpse again instead of the spirit healer, I knew I would have to teach Dragon a lesson they would never forget. You don't enter into a game of chicken with me. We both mounted up, and the chase was on.
Go!
Despite the clear head start Dragon had on me, I wasn't concerned. I mean, what kind of griefer would I be if my opponent can just mount up and run away? And that is why, days ago, I had gone out of my way to acquire a sacred piece of gear, a carrot on a stick. How had I acquired such a coveted trinket so early? That's a story for another video. But all you need to know is that the trinket increases my mounted speed by 3%. And to the misfortune of Dragon, that was not all. The mithril spurs I had received from a blacksmith increased my mounted speed by another 4%, and I was therefore destined to catch up. And so I did. As I left Dragon dazed and confused by my blinding powder, I wondered, would this be our final confrontation? Surely 20 minutes of being camped was your limit. What would you do, Dragon? Revive at the spirit healer and admit defeat? Or revive at your corpse and see just how deep this rabbit hole goes? 1 minute became 2, and 2 became 4. 4 became 8, and after 10 minutes, Dragon had still not made her choice. After 30 minutes, I started to question mine. Had I really just spent 30 actual minutes of my life hiding in a bush watching a virtual corpse? What the fuck is wrong with me? I could be doing something productive, and I don't just mean in the game, I mean with my life. I could be taking this time to learn a real life skill. I could have taken a oh, she revived. And that's the story of Dragon. After waiting 30 minutes to kill her, she no doubt realized my will was a raid boss she was never going to conquer. And finally, she embraced the warmth of 10 minutes resurrection sickness.
Suck on that, bitch!
Dragon was last seen in burning steeps and immediately spirit revived after being killed once. I will never forget the name Dragon, and it seems Dragon will never forget mine either. The end. By the way, I fell through the map into Caverns of Time and I can't get out, so if anyone could send help, I'd really appreciate it. Please send help. I can't leave.
What is that resolution? Oh my goodness. Wait, okay, I kind of love how like in WoW, it's basically just you fucking around, right? I think that's like so funny. I honestly think it's so silly. I love that you can do that. Just like happily fuck around.